Kelechi Iheanacho had a message for every Celtic fan after Sunday's winner at Easter Road, and it sent the internet wild. We have also got a big injury concern to address after the game, a real question mark surrounding one of the midfielders ahead of the Rangers derby, and not one but two refereeing controversies from yesterday that Celtic fans are absolutely fuming about. Let's get into it. But first, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. There is a big question hanging over Rio Hatate ahead of Sunday's Glasgow derby, and it is not a new one. It has been building quietly for weeks, and it is now impossible to ignore. Hatate was an unused substitute for the third game in a row as Celtic beat Hibernian 2-1 at Easter Road on Sunday. His last actual league appearance came against St Mirren on the 11th of April, when he was brought on late. By the time Rangers come to Celtic Park this Sunday, it will be close to a month since he has played any meaningful football. That is a striking place to be for a player who, just a couple of seasons ago, was considered one of the best midfielders in Scotland. At his best, Hatate had the imagination, the speed of thought, and the technical quality to change games from the middle of the park. The kind of player you build around. Now he appears to be on the outside of Martin O'Neill's plans entirely. Arne Engels has returned from injury and locked down a starting spot. Callum McGregor remains the captain and the anchor. Benjamin Nygren, who was named Celtic Player of the Year on Sunday evening, has chipped in with goals that have been absolutely invaluable during a chaotic campaign. That settled trio looks unlikely to change. O'Neill has previously hinted that Hatate may have lost some of the sharpness and edge that once defined him here. It was not a public dressing down, but it was pointed enough to tell you something. And yet, when Celtic were 2-0 down at Ibrox earlier this season, it was Hatate who came on and helped shift the momentum as the Hoops clawed back to draw 2-2. That is not ancient history. That is proof that the quality is still there when it is needed. 3 games left, everything's still on the line. The question is whether O'Neill trusts him enough to use it. Now for the main story, as there is a fresh injury concern around Daizen Maeda following Sunday's win over Hibernian, with the forward leaving the pitch at Easter Road looking visibly uncomfortable after the final whistle. Maeda had a big day. He opened the scoring in the 43rd minute and worked relentlessly throughout, his movement giving Celtic an outlet even during spells when the game became messy. But the sight of him leaving the pitch missing a boot and clearly in some discomfort had fans immediately fearing the worst. Journalist Michael Gannon, who had heard from sources behind the scenes, moved quickly to calm those fears. He said on Hotline Live, "Somebody stood on his foot. From what I'm told behind the scenes, I think someone's trod on his foot, so it's more of an impact thing. It wasn't an ankle sprain or a ligament issue. These boots these days are like a pair of slippers. There's not much protection in them. So I think it's just soreness across the bridge of the foot, but the feeling is he should be all right." An impact injury, rather than a twist or ligament problem, is clearly the better of the two scenarios. The staff will still monitor him closely over the next few days, and he will not be rushed into anything. But the early indication is that this is a knock rather than a setback. For Celtic, the difference matters enormously. Maeda's entire game is built around explosive movement, pressing from the front, and the ability to run in behind and stretch defences. Any issue with his foot directly affects all of that. Without him at full sharpness, Celtic become a more predictable team up front. With Rangers at Celtic Park on Sunday and then a trip to Motherwell before Hearts' visit on the final day, Celtic simply cannot afford to be without him. The early signs are encouraging. Fingers crossed those signs hold. In other news, the officiating at Easter Road on Sunday has not gone quietly, and the first controversy involves assistant referee Douglas Ross. Celtic had the ball in the net in the first half, when Daizen Maeda converted from close range following Alistair Johnston's delivery across the box. Ross raised his flag immediately for offside, chopping the goal off before VAR eventually stepped in and correctly overturned the decision. The goal stood, Maeda had his opener, and Celtic went on to win. But the clip of the incident has angered supporters, and looking at it, it is not hard to see why. When the ball is played across, Ross does not appear to be level with the last defender. He is not keeping up with play in the way an assistant referee has to if he is going to flag with that kind of conviction. From the position he appears to be in, it is genuinely difficult to understand how he could be certain Maeda was offside. The rules are clear. When VAR is operating, assistant referees are specifically instructed to delay the flag in attacking situations and let the phase finish before making a call. That is the entire point of the technology. Ross did not do that. VAR did its job here and the goal was given. Celtic won. But supporters are rightly asking why the flag went up at all from a position that clearly did not give the linesman the view needed to make that call with any confidence. In other news, the SFA have now broken their silence on the second major refereeing controversy from Sunday's match, and the explanation is not going down well. This one involves Joe Newell's equaliser for Hibernian just before half-time. The ball clearly appeared to strike Newell's arm and hand before he turned and finished past the keeper. Celtic players reacted immediately. The appeals were loud and obvious, and the incident went to VAR for review. The goal was allowed to stand. Sky Sports have since reported that the SFA's explanation was that there was insufficient evidence of a handball to overturn the on-field decision. The wording is important here. They are not saying there was no handball. They are saying VAR could not be sure enough to intervene. That is a distinction that will frustrate Celtic fans enormously because from the footage doing the rounds, the contact looks clear. The timing made it worse. Celtic were leading, Hibernian were down to 10 men, and the goal completely changed the feel of the game. It handed Hibs a lifeline they arguably should not have had and meant Celtic had to come from behind again in the second half. Willie Collum and the SFA have explained their position. But as former Celtic hero John Collins made clear after the game, this is not a close call that falls either way. In his view, it was an absolute shambles. Celtic recovered through Iheanacho to win the game. The 3 points are safe, but the standard of officiating in games of this magnitude, with a title race this tight, needs to be significantly better than what was on display at Easter Road on Sunday. Lastly, after all the controversy and all the tension of yesterday afternoon, Kelechi Iheanacho kept it beautifully simple. The Nigerian striker was the difference maker at Easter Road, coming off the bench to score the goal that won the game and kept Celtic right in the title race with 3 games remaining. After the final whistle, he took to Instagram with a picture of himself celebrating in front of the travelling Celtic support, and his message was just 5 words: "Stay with us, almost done." That is it. No big speech, no detailed breakdown of the title race, no posturing, just 5 words aimed directly at the Celtic faithful who have been on this exhausting, maddening, brilliant rollercoaster all season long. And it landed perfectly. This season has been anything but straightforward. The manager situation, the performances that drifted, the points dropped against teams Celtic should have beaten. At various points, this title looked like it had already slipped away. But Celtic are still here, still fighting, still one of 3 teams who could lift the trophy. That's all the latest Celtic news for today. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment below with your thoughts. I'll see you in the next one. Hail, hail.